They say everything's bigger in Texas. That even includes the mysteries. This week, we're diving into 2 stories that defy reason. One of human darkness, and one that's simply out of this world. Pour yourself something strong. You're gonna need it. This is Killer Hangover Podcast. Hello, I'm Beth, the daughter, and my story might just keep you up tonight.
And I'm Bettina, the mother, and my story might just make you look up tonight.
And you are listening to episode 8
of season 2.
Okay, I am very excited. I'm sorry. I know we just going to jump right into these stories. It's going to be a long episode again. I'm not even sorry about it. I'm going to cover everything on this case as much as I can. But I'm just super anxious because this drink is like bing, bang, boom highlighter.
Bing, bang, boom. I hope it's good for you. Let me know tomorrow what your urine looks like. But anyway.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Mom, I'll keep you posted.
Anyway,
you brought it up.
This lovely drink is called Alien Secretion.
Ew.
Love the names.
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Look at it. But look at it.
It looks like a green highlighter for those
Cheers.
that are not watching on YouTube.
Green highlighter.
Most highlighters are neon, aren't they? Cheers.
Cheers.
Definitely a melon cocktail. That's like all melon.
Is all alcohol.
Oh boy.
Pretty tasty though, isn't it?
It's very tasty. It's sweet. It's on the sweeter side.
It definitely is, which I'm sorry about. I usually don't make sweet drinks, but yeah, I just couldn't resist.
No, the aftertaste, there has to be some kind of like rum. Is there like a Caribbean?
There's rum in it.
Okay. Wow, I'm getting so good at this. There's the melon liqueur.
Yes.
I'm really tasting rum. I love rum. I love rum cocktails.
Good. I chose a good one.
You did.
But this also is vodka.
What?
So it is, of course, I doubled the recipe.
Of course.
For both of us, but 1 ounce
vodka. Or for myself, it's okay.
1 ounce pineapple juice. That's the sweetie stuff. 1 ounce coconut rum.
Okay, sweetie.
And 1 ounce melon liqueur.
Yeah. Yeah. That is very tropical.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that was going to happen. I knew the moment I saw you have a setup little thing here, I was like, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Dang it.
Okay. Well, at least for my story, you get to just put it down.
Let me tell you how to make it.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's really easy. In a cocktail
It's really easy. I just say, hey, Mom, go make me a cocktail.
In the cocktail shaker, fill it up with ice cubes. Add the vodka, the coconut, the rum, the melon, liqueur, and the pineapple. So basically all the ingredients.
Dig it and pour it?
This said add a splash of sweet and sour mix for an extra tangy twist. I did not do that.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't think it needs any tang. I like that coconutty aftertaste.
Shake vigorously for about 20 seconds. Yeah, I didn't count. And then pour it into the cocktail glasses.
What's floating in there, Mom? What's this dark thing?
Well, I don't know. No. I actually garnished it with a cherry. It said a slice of lemon or a cherry.
Plopped a cherry in there.
I wanted it to float like the picture.
Isn't it garnish when it just sinks to the bottom? Isn't it garnish?
Yes, it still is. But I mean, the picture shows it floating. I don't know how they did that. I was like, float, float.
I've never had a cherry float.
Yeah, a cherry float.
Ooh.
I haven't had a cherry float either.
Mm.
So
very tasty.
Anyway, thank you.
Very
See,
tasty.
the name is gross, but
Yeah, we don't need to say that again. Don't keep trying. It's just to keep falling over, Mom. Um, yeah, I pulled something in my hip.
I
So if you
mean,
guys
just
see
like an
me,
hour ago.
I have a heating pad on my tummy right now. It hurts. I'm getting old.
Gay.
Oh my God. And then my mom made a comment about dark circles under my eyes. It's just been a great evening. I'm so ready to get in front of the camera and record right now.
We've kind of had a busy day, so
I've had a very, very busy few weeks. My 4-year-old is not sleeping, so we're on a
okay.
good routine now.
Yes.
Finally catching up on sleep. I actually just read an article that said that you can never really catch up on sleep. That's not a thing. You
Mm-mm.
never just, there's not like a cup that you just like fill up with sleep when you
No,
sleep.
no.
When you're out of sleep, you're out of sleep. And eventually that just
Yep.
goes
And
away.
your body may be so tired that it oversleeps, but you're not catching up on
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why I
Wowie.
pulled my groin. I think that's why, or my hip or whatever the heck's going on. I think because my body is just like, you're
Tired?
tired.
Your hip is
And if
tired.
you're not going to sit down, I'm going to make you sit down.
Oh boy.
Okay,
Okay.
let's dive right in. Enough of the fluff. I can't, yeah, I can't hide from this one any longer.
PSA: This episode is a very graphic episode describing the deaths of 2 young children. We totally understand if this is too upsetting or triggering for anybody. Please feel free to fast forward to Mom's paranormal portion at the end of this episode.
Any longer. You just recently had a case that you said haunted you
Yes.
with the Ellen's
Mhm.
case. And this one has been that for me. And probably for over a year. I first heard it and wanted to cover it. Man, it had to have been 2 years ago on first season. But there was just too much that went into it, and I wanted to just
Do it
keep,
right.
I wanted to do it correctly. And I just kept, I mean, there's no updates, there's nothing like that. It's just one of those cases that there's so much. And I am happy that I waited because who the story is about her sister. I found her recently on TikTok.
Oh,
And so she's been saying things that, like, this story has been told on several podcasts, it's been told on documentaries and such. So it might be a familiar case for you. And don't, I'm not saying like I have all these new, oh, what? Listen to us because we have all these new things. But the media has really, held on to things that I don't think hold any credence. I don't think they have anything to do with the case, but it's kind of become woven into the story. And the sister has
mm,
even come out and said, like, that wasn't necessarily like this. This is how this was. I was there when this happened. I don't know where this story came from. So it's been
yeah.
interesting to kind of go through her TikTok and see,
Clean up the story.
yes, because it does need to be cleaned up a bit. And not only that, but there's some work uh, in the Innocence Project with this. This is a case where you're going to be looking at me and go, I don't know that she did this.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I will be sharing with you the case of Darlie Routier. And okay, be ready.
Okay.
Buckle up if you're driving. If you're not, just buckle up.
Well,
I
hopefully
don't even
buckle up
know.
anyway if you're driving.
Okay. Um, June of 1996, Rowlett, Texas. Picture perfect suburb, brand new big brick homes with the porch columns, the pristine lawns, sprinkler mist catching the street lights. You get the
Mm.
idea. You could drive down that block and swear nothing bad will ever happen there. It happens there. She was 26, pretty, blonde, bubbly, married to her high school sweetheart. 3 little boys who looked like they ran the show. And this was Darlie Routier. Her husband's name was Darren. He was a manager at a restaurant so this is kind of how they met. He was a manager at the restaurant where Darlie's mom worked. And he went up to Darlie's mom and I want to meet your daughter. She's beautiful. And so Darlie's mom introduced the two. And he was 17, she was 15 at the
Oh
time.
my goodness. Wow.
And they were married 4 years later. So they were high school sweethearts. Darren ended up working with circuit boards. This is the 90s. This is a new thing. And made them quite a bit of money. Now,
Okay.
Darren and Darlie did not come from money. So when they get this money, they're enjoying spending it. I mean, as they should. They worked hard to get this. And this is where we're going to start seeing different stories being told. Some say that they were frivolous with this money because they weren't used to having it, so they were very frivolous with it. And others just say, well, yeah, they enjoyed their money. So we'll get into all of the gist of things, but you get the.
Okay.
They're a very young couple. They were 20. What did I say? She was 26. He was 28. They're living in a gorgeous house.
They're comfortable.
3 boys. Yes, they're very yes. He did very well at his job, and I don't know that we can judge someone on how they spend their money. They're just living their life. Everybody lives their life differently. Everybody spends their money differently.
Yeah.
Some people like to spend it on trips. Others like to spend it on designer clothing. Some people like to spend it on going out to eat and food. Some like to spend it on decorating their house. You never know. So Darlie was very bubbly and happy. They had 3 boys, like I said, Devin, Damon, and Drake. Lots of D's.
Yeah, no kidding.
And Darlie's family is the same. Her sisters were all D's. I mean, it's carried on the D's. Devin was 6, Damon was 5, and baby Drake was just 7 months old. Friends say she adored those kids. Several resources said she was just a great mom, and she was a mom to even other children in the neighborhood. She just loved providing that.
Stay-at-home mom?
Yes.
Okay.
And they had a shop that they owned, and she would work there every once in a while. But yes, she was with her boys. They were her life. From the outside, they looked like a young family doing well. Big house, toys in the yard, holidays with all the trimmings. From the inside, well, that's where the story starts to shift. It was summertime, and the 2 older boys had made it a fun summer habit of having campouts in the family living room together. That night, Darlie had decided to sleep down in the living room with the boys. The 2 boys on the floor, and she would sleep on the couch.
Okay.
It had been a normal summer's day. The boys had played outside. Darren had worked. Darlie's sister had come over for dinner. They had dinner together. Then they sat around chatting, watching TV. It started to get late, so Darlie's sister left. The boys started to get their little camp out together in the living room floor. Darlie made the baby a bottle. Darren put him to bed upstairs in their room. So Darlie was deciding to sleep on the couch because the baby would move around in its crib a lot and it would wake her up. It would keep her up. So she's like, I just want to sleep. So I get it, girl. So she's like, I'm just going to sleep on the couch tonight and hopefully I can get some sleep. Darren comes back downstairs after he puts the baby to bed, and the 2 stay up together. The older boys are on the floor and they're sitting up talking. They're watching some TV and they're just, adult chat, talking about their day at the shop. They're talking about Darlie's planning a trip to go to Cancun with some of her girlfriends in the neighborhood. So they're kind of talking about, making the plans for that trip and what needs to, what needs to go on with that. It's a little past midnight and Darren goes upstairs to go to bed. And according to an interview I saw, he was actually planning on sleeping down on the couch with her, but she's like, you're not going to get sleep here. And I actually am sleeping here to sleep. So see you later.
Bye-bye.
Sometime after 2 a.m, Darlie feels a pressure and nudging on her shoulder. And then she hears, Mommy, Mommy. She opens her eyes and sees Damon, her 5-year-old. But there's also a man. She described him as tall in dark clothing and a baseball cap. She says he was kind of over her, and then he heads to the kitchen. She follows, Damon behind her. She hears glass breaking. Everything's dark until she flips on a light, and that's when she sees it. Blood on her. Blood on the floor. A knife on the kitchen tile. She screams for her husband. She grabs the phone, and she calls 911 at 2:31 a.m. And you can hear it. I'm going to play the call for you. I don't know what we're allowed to do on YouTube and on the podcast. So in case I can't link it here, it's an easy YouTube search. It's an easy Google search. You can hear it. It is out there. You can hear just fear, confusion, urgency. Is it too much? Is it too little? I'll let you judge, but I am gonna play this for you though, Mom. I do think it's important. Do think it's important for you to hear.
Is there more? This is just horrible.
It's horrible. This whole case is so bad, Mom. It is so horrible.
What I got out of that was one or two of her sons have been stabbed. Um, I didn't hear her husband's voice. I thought I heard a male's voice in there somewhere, and she said that he was helping her with the boys, but he never said anything.
He does.
He
He does
does?
multiple times. Hmm.
It's just very vague.
Yeah, that's why I offered the transcript to you so you could read it as it was going. It that there's a lot going on. You hear the 911 operator talking to other people, trying to direct the
Yeah.
ambulance and officers to where they're going. But she's also staying on the phone with Darlie, trying to direct Darlie to calm down and trying to get more information, keep her on the phone. You hear Darren in the background screaming, "Oh my gosh!" And PSA, I probably should have said this. This is about children's death. So if this is triggering for anybody, if this is too hard, uh, this was incredibly hard for me, but I was so deep I had to continue with researching this case. Please, Mom will hopefully lighten everything up at the end here, but maybe
I
this
get to get
episode
out of
isn't for
this,
you.
do
You don't
I?
get out of this. Uh, so yes, the Darren is in the background. Just what happened? Oh my gosh, they're gushing blood. They're just gushing blood, and she's running around like crazy, just constantly. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh! Someone came into the house and stabbed us. My babies have been stabbed. My babies. Um, they threw the knife down. My babies are dying. They're dead. They're dead. My babies are dead. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. It's constantly just, oh my God, and different pitches, different just shrieks, and just,
Yeah.
I mean, the horror in her voice.
Gut wrenching to
Yes.
listen to that.
And she's telling Darren, there's a knife over there. There was a knife over there. She's telling somebody there was a knife
Somebody,
over
I
there.
heard that, yeah.
And the officer says, "Oh, there's a knife. Don't touch anything." And she says, "I already did. I already did." And then the call keeps going on. And then later on in the call, again, Darlie says, the knife is laying over there and I already touched it. We could have gotten prints maybe. And so she's questioning that. The call is a little over 5 minutes. There is so much going on. Darlie, again, yelling for help, yelling for Darren, telling Darren to go and get help from the neighbor. She was a nurse, so she's yelling, like, go talk to the neighbor, go get the neighbor. She's a nurse. Maybe she can help. I mean, there is chaos in this phone call. And you hear the dispatcher. She's even, like I said, chatting to other people for assistance. So there's just a lot of different conversations. During the call, Darlie is getting towels for the boys. She's wetting towels, trying to do just something, just do something. When the officers arrive, Devin has already passed because of his injuries. And he was the older boy. He was 6. He had succumbed to his injuries. He had 2 very large stab wounds to his chest, penetrating through his back.
Oh, good Lord.
Damon was still alive when officers arrived. Remember, he was the one that woke his mommy up, but barely. He apparently passed out, and Darren was trying to give the boy CPR, and blood was just coming out of his wounds in
Was
his
he
chest.
also stabbed in the chest? Oh, God.
Both boys had been stabbed very hard and very deep. The force was so intense, people talk about it leaving marks on the floor beneath them, in the cement floor, in the tile. As first responders arrived, Darren is running outside to the neighbor's house. She was a nurse, like I said. So as they're arriving, he's like running away, and then he comes back, and they're like, it was just absolute chaos. Inside, Darlie is still on the phone with 911 so the officers arrived, and she's just in such a chaotic mode. The dispatcher says, "Is the door unlocked?" And Darlie says, "Yes, it is." But then a couple minutes later, she's like, "The officer's there. He can't get in. You need to go unlock the door for him." So there's just mad chaos. As like I said, the call was a little over 5 minutes, and then the officers had already arrived. So they arrived within a good 4 minutes of the call.
Okay.
So just keep that timeline in mind. Now, Darlie was injured as well.
Oh, she was.
Yes, she had slashes on her arms, deep slashes in her arms, and stab wounds in her arms, and her throat was cut side to side, deep and bleeding. And so when she went into the kitchen, and she turned on the light and she saw, that's when she realized that she was covered in her own blood. She was very wounded.
Well, how did she not wake up?
She went straight, I don't know. She went straight to surgery from here. And the surgeon told her that if the cut had only been 2 millimeters deeper, it would have slashed her carotid.
Oh, good grief.
So this is a deep slash to her throat. In surgery, they also had to remove her necklace that had actually gotten stuck in the
Inside
wound.
the wound.
And maybe that's what saved it from going deeper.
Maybe.
I don't know. Now, a lot of other podcasts and documentaries have covered this. I mentioned that. And even in the trial, a lot claim that these were superficial wounds. But I'm going to show you this picture, and I want you to tell me if this is superficial wound, okay? Just your opinion. You might think it's a superficial wound. I'm really trying to give this without
Bias.
but I really, really want to. This is a picture of her after surgery. I wonder if you can kind of scroll. I'm going to scroll through some of the pictures there, and you can see.
Okay.
She's done a couple of interviews, maybe one, maybe two. And she has a huge scar across her neck and on her arms.
That was deep.
Very much so. So you look at this and you think an intruder, a home invasion, a horror story,
Her husband?
except within minutes, investigators start questioning things. So an investigator came in and within 20 minutes of walking around the house said there was no intruder here. There's a window screen in the garage that had been cut, like a break-in, from the outside. It had been sliced from the outside to get in. And so apparently it was like in the garage, and then they got into the house from the garage. So lock that door that goes to your garage, people.
And that's not proof that there might have been an intruder?
They claim that dust around the window looks to be undisturbed.
Oh.
Valuables were left out. This is the 90s. She's in Dallas. Okay. Blonde, bleached hair, lots of gold jewelries and the big dangles and all that kind of stuff. She'd taken all that stuff off to sleep and had it all sitting on the counter. Nothing in the home was stolen.
Okay. Interesting.
No one took a thing. There's glass on the floor near the kitchen, and a wine glass had been broken. But between the glass and the tipped vase with flowers, there was a tipped vase with flowers in the living room. There was also like a vacuum that had been knocked over, but there was like blood under the vacuum. So they think that it was all posed. So it reminds me of that case you covered in season 1 of that officer, the doctor, who blamed it on hippies.
Oh, yeah.
So they think it's staged because there's like the blood splatter and then the vase is like tipped over on top of the blood and then blood splatter and then the vacuum tipped over on top of the blood. So
not good signs. Okay.
No, but to play devil's advocate here, this scene was absolute chaos. Who's to say that as she ran to the kitchen, she didn't knock over the vacuum, or as all these officers and medics ran into the home, they didn't knock over something. This was not done very cleanly. I will say that.
Oh, the investigation and everything? No.
Everything is scattered in this chaotic struggle. One of the crime scene guys, and this is what's stuck with me. So he gets there, like I said, within 20 minutes, he decides it's all staged. And he says that. And once that idea takes root, it spreads like ivy. That's the story that they're going to start shaping and sticking with. They look at her injuries compared to the boys. The boys were stabbed with a fury that feels very personal through and through. Hers is, as I stated before, the prosecution will later call them superstitial. Superficial.
Superstitial.
Superstitial. Is that even a
A
word?
ghost did it.
We superstitious.
I know.
Just
Just superstitial.
it's just little stitches. Okay. I need some laughter. Sorry. They say whoever did this had time in the house and left no trace, and that's very weird. There were no fingerprints or other DNA found in the home besides Darlie's and the boys. Now, Darlie's family to this day claims that there are others found. There was a bloody fingerprint found and another fingerprint, but they're partial prints and they're still in the process of getting those tested.
And the husband was never looked at. I'm just questioning.
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. But he was in just total shock that all of this was I don't know. Okay. And on the knife was only Darlie's fingerprints.
Well, she said she had handled it. She was.
And if this is like an intruder, think about that for a second. This seems like a pretty good job. Like
He'd be wearing gloves.
gloves. If anybody's breaking into the house for anything, if it's to murder people or if it's to steal something, he's probably wearing
If
gloves.
he's cutting through a screen and stuff, he'd be wearing gloves.
Yeah. They say she can't describe the intruder's face. She says she has amnesia about it. They say her story shifts a little in details. She says she was in shock.
Yeah. Okay.
Then there's the sock. Now, this sock was found after this officer came in and said, this has been staged. There's not been an intruder. They find a sock, a white sock shows up 75 yards away near a storm drain. This sock has the boy's blood and Darlie's saliva on it. No other drops of blood or anything leading to this sock, leading to the storm drain. There's no other blood. There's no other DNA evidence leading to this sock 75 yards away by a storm drain. Keep in mind, a football field is 100 yards. So there and back is over a football field's length. So just think about that.
That's weird. That's weird.
Okay. Police say she planted it to make it look like the killer ran. When
was she supposed to do that?
Is that going to happen? And she's bleeding profusely out of her neck. And there's no blood splatter on the way to drop off a bloody sock. When?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Experts claim that Damon couldn't have survived more than roughly 6 to 9 minutes after the wounds that he received. And I actually think it was the prosecution that said that. He wouldn't have been able to survive with those wounds 6 to 9 minutes. The 911 call runs just about 5 minutes. So I'm not very good at math, but to accept the planting theory, you'd have to accept that in those minutes, that short span, before or during this call, she stabs her boys, runs a football field's length to drop off a sock
while she's bleeding,
runs back, stages things, stabs herself, and still had time to do all the other things you hear on the call.
Superwoman.
Wet towels. I mean, yeah, it's so this is where my brain gets stuck in this crazy circle because
that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. According to experts, Devin was stabbed first, then Darlie, then Damon. And there's blood all over the house.
Well,
the crime scene photos are online. If you want to, you can see them. Her neck wound was bleeding, like I said, a ton, and she left a trail and bloody footprints all over the house as she was running around on the call. You can see her path the whole time. Mm-hmm. And there's no trail of blood, no drops of blood around the sock, around the window, around any of that. Now, granted, she could have cut the window days ago. I don't know. But why would you plant it there? Right? Like, why would you plant it so far away from the house? Why wouldn't you dump it in it? If you're trying to stage that somebody trying to break in, why wouldn't you just throw it out the window or throw it in a trash can or
And I'm supposing that the sock had her saliva on it because it was
in
crushed
her
in her
mouth.
mouth
That's what I'm
to
assuming.
keep her from screaming.
I know. There's more. They search the house and they test the knives. So the murder weapon was a white knife, which, as I stated, only Devin, Damon, and Darlie's DNA was on it. This was from her kitchen block in her kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Another knife, the bread slicing knife that was in the same butcher's block, had fiberglass and rubbery dust on it that's consistent with torn window screen.
Oh,
The prosecution say this means the same bread knife cut the screen to fake the break-in. The defense says contamination happens, crime scenes get messy, and even some of the fingerprint brush fibers are similar to the same kind of fibers that are found on these screen windows. And the other thing is this is a bread knife. I don't know why one you'd use that to cut a
screen.
screen because it's rounded at the end. It's not sharp.
Mine
You'd
is
want,
sharp.
well, I know, but like it's a bread knife though. It's rounded and then it's sharp, sure. But it's not like a pointed knife that you would go for to use to cut.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but mine does have so you can spear the bread. So it is sharp.
This one's
Mine is
not.
sharp. Okay.
This one is like mine. I didn't know that they make other ones. I hate my bread knife, but it's rounded at the top and then whatever.
Rated.
Yes, thank you. And then swiveled. I didn't know what to call it. Again,
Who would even think about using a bread knife to cut the screen?
this doesn't make any sense to
It
me.
doesn't. You'd use a saw or
I think that that's
scissors.
contamination. I really do, but people swear that these are the exact same fibers that are from her window. And again, add in the timeline if he had 6 to 9 minutes of survival. She stabbed and kills her boys, slices her own throat, cuts a window, places a sock.
Like you said, she could have done the window ahead of time.
Hmm.
If she was so mastermindfully.
And that's the thing.
doing
She's not
this.
some mastermind. That's what I just don't. She's this little blonde bubbly thing who just loves to play with her boys and spoil them, and she keeps a very clean house. And like, I just, I, and the 911 call, it keeps coming back. She says on the call there's a knife left behind, and the dispatcher tells her not to touch anything. And she says, I already picked it up. You can hear her in the background telling her husband to get towels, telling the boys to hang on, hang on. You hear this slice of a night no human being ever should ever have to live through. I mean, it's horrendous. And later in court, the fact that she touched the knife becomes this pillar for the prosecution. I mean, and everything I watched and listened to, they really hang on to that 911 call where she says, I shouldn't have touched it because we could have gotten prints.
Well,
And they're
because
like,
her
why
mind
did she,
is going 50 miles an hour.
but why would she say that? Why would she say fingerprints unless she posed that and said, oh, well, yeah, there's not going to be any prints on that. I touched it. So,
I I don't see that though because
and I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but if I were to see a knife that my children got stabbed with, I would probably pick it up
I would
too,
pick it up too.
Without even thinking
Totally would have picked it up.
in that
And
midst of
then I
chaos.
would have, if they said,
And then I would
"Don't
have been
touch
like,
the
gosh,
knife, don't touch
I
the
touched
knife."
the knife.
I touched it. I touched the knife. And then I mean, we all watch crime stuff and oh my gosh, you
We
could
do
have
it for
gotten
a living,
fingerprints.
and I still would have,
You
I
could
would
have
have
gotten
touched the knife.
fingerprints. I mean, it's just like a step to a process in your brain that you would think, no, now you can't get prints. I screwed that up. But he wouldn't have gotten prints anyway. The dude was wearing gloves.
I think, I mean, this is a, I keep missing the word in my head because my head's, every time I start looking at this case, my brain just starts going off in all these different directions. But I mean, this is like that's his job. Like this guy came in for a job, it seems. Like okay.
Keep
So
going.
some, so this guy says there's no intruder. This was staged. Her fingerprints are on the murder weapon. Her own kitchen knives are used. There's no intruder's prints found anywhere. So it's like the state is building the story itself. Like
Well, they've got a story and they're looking at the evidence and having
to
the
fill the
evidence
story.
prove their story,
Exactly.
is what it sounds
That
like
is
to me.
literally the whole problem with this case for me. If she did it or she didn't do it, they did not look elsewhere at all. And I will get there. I'm sorry, we are not anywhere near over with this, near the end, but they didn't look anywhere else. And that's what infuriates me so much. And this was around the time of that Shelley, that mother who,
The Susan one?
yes, who strapped her children in the car and said that she was carjacked, but she drove them off the bridge and killed her children.
For her boyfriend.
So this was around that exact same time when America is seeing like, oh my gosh, a mother can kill her children. And this was like this big media sensation. So
But
they
what is
walk.
her motive? Did they pull out a motive out of all this?
So I'll get there. Some say the family's finances weren't great. From the curb, this all looks great. Houses, cars, boat, vacations. But they were behind on a couple things. They had a lot of credit card debt and they had been 2 months behind on their mortgage.
Mm.
A rejected loan application, insurance policies. I always feel queasy when a case leans too hard on money as motive. I just don't, I hate that because debt is common and murder is rare. And
So they're thinking she just snapped.
so that's where prosecution went is that, yeah. But they were talking
She
about a
had
Mexico trip.
So
Like,
many woes upon her because of financial stuff that her mind just snapped.
but as I was just saying, I started following her sister on TikTok, and yes, they had their financial issues, but not enough to for this. And let me talk about insurance. Okay. If this was to get money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her husband's life insurance would have been like 500,000, $1 million. Like he had a very high life insurance. Why not kill him? Hers was very high as well.
Why not kill her?
The boys were because their life insurances were so high, the boys were tied into there. So it was just like an extra benefit that they got it because of their, I don't remember what that program's called. I'm not very good when it comes to finances, but each boy was $5,000 each. They didn't even have enough money to cover their burials.
Oh my God.
So why the boys?
The babies that she loved. That makes no sense.
They also point to a journal entry about a month before, a suicide note to her children in her journal. They say she was depressed, desperate, maybe suicidal, maybe resentful. The letter is very like, I love you so much, but I think she was having some horrible postpartum. Um, but again, that does not prove motive to me. I mean, as a mom, we have these ups and downs, we have these horrible things. And speaking from my personal experience, I journal everything. And if you were to go through my journal right now, there are some very dark pages and there's some very happy pages. It's how I put my energy. And apparently, according to her sister, according to a lot of family, she journaled since she was like 10 years old. She journaled all the time. She always had little journals everywhere. If it was just pictures or writing, and that was,
So
I
this
think it
could
was a
have been
lot like
a
me.
page
She
from
just,
the journal.
it was a page from her journal that they found from a month ago. It was dated and everything, but they used it as showing how depressed she was and desperate she was and how she was suicidal. Okay, then why not suicide then? Why not just suicide? And then, hey, then you're leaving then you have money or whatever. I stage this and then you die, but why kill your children along with it? It just,
Why
I
not
don't
pick
know.
a night when they're sleeping in their beds and then you're by yourself and you do that's no.
So they don't have to prove a motive. They tell the jury, they suggest one anyway. Kill the boys, spare the baby, survive the wounds, collect sympathy, collect insurance, collect attention, save a lifestyle. It's ugly. I mean, it sounds like a TV plot line because it basically is. The defense says no. She's a young mom with postpartum depression and anxiety. She was overwhelmed. She wrote a dark note one day because she felt hopeless, not homicidal. Family members have even chimed in. Like I said, she wrote in her journals for years. And I wish I could say this in bold. Depression does not equal murder.
No.
Like that makes me so mad. And to weaponize mental health makes me so sick.
Going back to the Ellen thing.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, well, of course she killed herself because she was anxious.
They
No,
they weaponize mental
mental
health all
health.
the
They
time.
use it as a motive.
And it makes anyone sound dangerous in hindsight, right?
Yeah, we all go through phases of being a little wanky.
I
So-
recently have because of no sleep. The physical scene gets argued from every angle in this case. There are bloody footprints, there are patterns on her nightshirt. Some tests say there's cast off on her back. So there was like, now, a lot of documentaries and podcasts have said there was blood on her back that belonged to one of the boys. And so prosecution say it was cast off from when she went to stab and she lifted
same
her
with
hand up.
flashback.
So cast off from the knife, splattered on her back. So I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. That is interesting. Why would there be blood splatter on her back? Her sister shows this picture from the case, and it's like this teeny tiny little frickin' dot. And in all the chaos, you really don't think that while Darren's giving CPR and blood is coming out of her son's chest, you don't think that anything, she's wiping up with towels. You don't think she threw a towel over her back. Like, really? I'm sorry, but there's going to be blood from her son's on her.
So it wasn't cast off. It wasn't a spray.
And they will argue, like, if they zoom in and they say, like, see how it's coming from this angle, well, that angle matches this, and I just don't think they have a case there at all, but maybe they do. There is blood from her son on her back, and it could represent cast off. It really could.
There'd be more of it though then.
There are suggestions of a cleanup in the kitchen sink. So there's watered down blood in the kitchen sink. And so they were saying like she was trying to clean up. So maybe she stabbed her boys. Okay. And then was trying to pose everything before she hurt herself. And there was proof of cleanup in the kitchen sink.
Yeah, but she was getting wet towels too, and she's probably using the same wet towel. I mean, wet them, and then so there would have been blood in the sink from the towels.
But cleanup meaning like bleach residue.
Well, maybe she cleaned the sink that night before they all went to bed. She was
Exactly.
a clean
Bleach sticks
person.
around. Like it sticks around.
But you would have
That's
bleach.
why you use it to clean. Like
You would
it
have bleach
cleans.
residue. Of course you would.
Luminol glows wherever bleach has ever been, and she was a very meticulous housekeeper. So I don't think that shows a staged. I think that shows that she kept a clean house, and obviously bleach was used in her kitchen sink. And if you look at the picture, it's wild to me because there is all of this blood splatter where it was dripping off of her at the foot of the sink. But let's clean inside the sink. I mean, there's a crime scene all over her home of blood, but let's clean inside the sink. That makes that made no sense to me. I'm sorry. Okay. And then there's the video. This was a big thing. A graveside birthday for Devin's 7th birthday. His 7th birthday would have been on June 14th. And they buried the boys on June 9th. So she was released from the hospital. They buried the boys on June 9th, and a few days later would have been Devin's 7th birthday. Family and friends go to the cemetery. They'd been there for hours. So there's a video that was shown to the jury. And do you want to see it? Should I just show it to you? I don't know if you want to see it, or I can just explain it. But there's a video that was shown to the jury from the prosecution. And they call it the silly string case is what this is called. And it's literally Darlie jumping up and down, squealing, shooting silly string all over her son's grave. And this is days after her children were murdered. And there's news crews, there's people there. They're spraying silly string. She's smiling, she's laughing. I mean, so they show this to the jury, and the jury watched this like 18 times. And many jurors said that this is what sealed it for them, that she was guilty, was this video. Now, this is something that pisses her sister off beyond belief because the jury never got the full story of this video at all. So the backstory is that Darlie's sister was going to be getting married. And I guess Darlie and Darren were going to be renewing their vows as well. But the boys were going to be a part of it, and they were so excited for this wedding. And they had asked, I mean, they're 5 and 7. I mean, come on. And they had asked, instead of rice, can we do silly string? And they were so excited about it. And they then the women thought about it for a while and they're like, no, like I don't want to stay in a white dress with silly string. Like this just could probably go bad. But I promise you, we will do silly string. We will do silly string for your birthday. I promise you. And this little boy was asking daily, how many more days till my birthday? How many days till I'm 7? Can't wait for silly string. He was so excited. Darlie did not bring the silly string. Her sister brought the silly string. And they were celebrating his birthday. Now, think of that as you will. Some people think that's very inappropriate. But what they don't show in this video is the 2 hours, some sources even say 3 hours previous to this. They had still been there. They started there 3 hours prior. Sorry, I'm going to get emotional. Praying, crying. They had a service there. Their priest came. Like they had a big service there. Just tons of cries. They were cried out at this point, and they wanted to find some happiness in this day to celebrate this baby's birthday. And I mean, this is not an excuse or anything, but she was also very highly medicated after her surgery. This is soon afterwards. They have her on all these antidepressants, which she's not used to. She was never on them before. So she's heavily dosed. And her sister, even just recently on a TikTok I watched, said we all kind of were. We were all dosing ourselves at this point because this was just such a devastating time.
That's the way I see it. And I'm sorry, she was emotionally unstable.
At this point, yeah, yeah.
I mean, and it's almost, what's the word that I could put to this? It's almost just an out of body thing. It's almost like she wasn't, it probably wasn't happiness, true happiness she was expressing. It was almost a deranged happiness that she was doing this.
Yeah, all the prosecution and the jury said she wasn't grieving correctly. And that infuriates me because I know we say it all the time, but you never know how you're going to grieve in these moments. You never know how you're going to act if this day were to ever
No,
haunt
obviously
you.
they do.
And I think it's incredibly unfair that a person's worst day becomes public property, and 1 minute they try to breathe in this clip and they're judged by it forever.
Well, that's what you said, a clip. There were 3 hours before that
Yeah.
nobody seemed to show.
Yeah. And one of the jurors said, if I would have known that, and that makes me even,
Why didn't they
I
do
want to
that?
wring the defense attorney's neck and be like, why didn't you, if they're bringing it up and they bring if the prosecution shows this clip, then this whole video then can be evidence now, right? So, okay, hold on, rewind, let's show the whole clip. Like, why didn't you do that? But they really just didn't think that this meant anything. They didn't think that this would hold any ground. They really didn't think it would hold any water. Like, how could a jury watch that and really judge her from the silly string? But it did. It ended up literally
Stupid.
breaking her case. The timeline keeps going. Police interview her early that morning. So just after surgery, police interview her. And she can't describe the intruder's face beyond the basics. Amnesia about his features. Shock does that. I don't know. Being out of surgery does that. I don't know. Trauma does that. The investigators decide they're not buying it. The intruder theory gets walled off fast. By mid-June, she's arrested. When they take her into custody, some officers celebrate with high fives and cheers. If you already believe she did it, maybe that feels like justice. If you don't, it looks like bias nailed down with a grin. By January 1997, she's on trial for capital murder. Only for Damon's death because he was under 6, which makes it capital under Texas law. She wasn't tried for Devon's.
No.
The state doesn't have to show a reason, just that she did it. They focus on the knife, the sock, the screen, the finances, the oddness of her grief. They call a physician who says her wounds look self-inflicted. They point to the dust around the cut screen and say no one came in or out. They call witnesses who say she showed little emotion, that she complained about not having her hair done for court, which she did. She wanted to have her hair done for trial.
She's used to looking pretty.
It's Dallas, Texas.
Oh gosh, all these nitpicky
They
Yes.
call a housekeeper who says she mentioned needing money and another who mentioned a black. Okay, so there was this housekeeper claimed that Darlie was, upset because they needed money. But the same housekeeper said that she saw a black car lurking in the alley a few days before. But no officers put any weight on that. Nobody followed through with that at all.
No, they had their mindset.
Yeah. And another thing to mention too, if we want to go with like an intruder theory,
Hmm.
this living room and this house was for sale a few years ago, and I found it on Zillow because I'm just super curious about what this house looked like inside. Because so you can see pictures of this home. It's floor to ceiling like windows in this living room. So
Hmm.
if it's an intruder walking by, and apparently in that neighborhood a few weeks prior, like down further, there was a break-in and an attempted rape. So it's these windows, you see a woman lying on a couch sleeping. Okay, maybe you don't necessarily see the boys lying on the floor. So you're not coming in to rob. You wouldn't be coming in to try to rob.
Can I just something just hit me
No,
while you were
please.
talking? That screen could have been cut weeks before.
It could have been cut
It could have been
from
a total
anything.
accident. Something flew in.
I
The
have
boys,
boys.
the boys threw a ball, and it
Don't look
took
too
it,
closely at the wall behind me. There's two holes in it over there.
and it busted the screen. I mean, there and it would gather dust because it had been ripped weeks ago. Oh gosh.
The defense tries to push back. They talk about a man in dark clothes, a baseball cap. They point out that the baby was upstairs untouched. And if this was a rage killing by a stranger, who would leave an adult witness? They argue that the timeline the state needs is physically jammed too tight. No way to plant a sock 75 yards away and get back before the call while a wounded child is still moving, gurgling, trying to live. They say the crime scene work was sloppy, that the consultant basically decided staged within half an hour, and no one really chased the intruder angle
Idea at
at
all.
all. Confirmation bias. Start with a conclusion and work backward. They bring up that the knife might have cut the screen, but that contamination and cross transfer they happen. They point to her mom and sister to a community that loved her. They say she talked to the police without a lawyer because she had nothing to hide. She was very open. They remind the jury reasonable doubt isn't a feeling, it's a standard.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's what is so crazy because this is a death penalty case.
Texas, yeah.
So you can seriously sit there and listen to this and say, without a reasonable doubt, she did it.
I mean, I'm sitting here doubting it right now
It
without
makes,
sitting in court and seeing all the
and then knowing
evidence.
that the pressure that she's going to go on death row for this, I would want to make sure in my heart of hearts, I knew this is it. There is no evidence showing me otherwise. There is not enough evidence to convict this
Well,
woman.
did the defense not strongly, I mean, present their case
I
or
don't think they did the best job, but I just,
because all they have to do is put a shred of doubt
I
in the
exactly,
jurors.
exactly.
It doesn't sound like they did.
February 1997, they declare her guilty, death sentence. She goes to Mountain View Unit. Years pass, appeals, motions for new trials, DNA testing debates. The family stands by her. To this
Innocent
day,
Project didn't take this on?
they have now. They're working with her now, but like those two fingerprints they're really trying hard to look into.
Oh, they're the ones that are running those. Okay.
Yeah. She and her husband did get divorced a few years later. People keep arguing about the sock. People keep arguing about the cuts. Some point to new technology, new testing. And this was 30 years ago. Like this, what sucks is that these people, all these angles should have been followed then. Trying to find evidence now.
I know. This makes it all the harder.
The only thing that doesn't change is that two little boys are gone and a mother has a scar across her neck and a death sentence hanging over her head. And tell me you don't hear that 911 call in your head right now. It haunts me. I'm like, well, I'll be just doing the dishes and it'll just like pop in my head. It haunts me. Here's where I always circle back. What kind of intruder does this? If you believe her story, you have a man who breaks into a house after midnight, walks past a sleeping husband and a baby upstairs, attacks two boys and their mother downstairs, leaves a knife in the kitchen, takes nothing, vanishes into the dark without leaving prints or footprints, and somehow, in that chaos, drops a sock 75 yards away with the boy's blood on it, but leaves no blood trail to get there.
So the question is
It's
why?
it's irrational. It's unusual. I mean,
It doesn't make sense either. Because why? Why is he doing this? Did someone hire him to do it? Did
no.
he have any motivation to do this? I mean, it just because he didn't rape her, he didn't take anything. So what is his motivation?
If you don't believe her story, you're left with this. A mother who loves her kids, there's no history of violence, no pattern of cruelty, who suddenly in the middle of the night murders two of them with a level of force that shocks trained officers, spares the baby, injures herself in a way that almost kills her, but doesn't, and stages a scene so clumsily that there's no signs all over it, yet so cleverly that no one finds a single stranger's trace. She calls 911 and stays on for almost 5 minutes,
5 minutes.
pleading, panicking, telling the dispatcher she touched the knife before anyone ever asks. She puts herself in a surgery with a wound so close to catastrophic, it still makes doctors just, how did she? That's so close. 2 millimeters. Are you kidding me? Yeah, it's a storm.
Oh, that is just, I mean, like, doesn't make any sense either way.
Uh-uh.
I'm still baffled as to why did the little boy wake her up? Why wasn't she already
And
awake?
that's another argument too, is if she couldn't sleep upstairs in her room because her little baby was waking her up by rolling and tossing in his bed, how did an intruder come and stab and
And cause total
kill one
chaos.
of her
He
sons,
slept through it.
stabs her, and then stabs her others, like, and you sleep through that?
Yeah. Yeah, that threw me, and it still throws me.
Hmm?
It still throws me.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if there was an intruder, the boy woke her up. But still, why didn't she wake up? Maybe she was just so dang tired. She was just dead to the world. Maybe she took something to help her sleep. I mean, I don't know.
No, she
Sleeping
didn't
pills?
say no.
Okay. So she didn't take, no, she would have heard something. As a
Yeah.
mother, especially of young kids, you know this. You're a light sleeper. You hear everything.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering if you were going to say that because that's mine. Like, my baby would roll over and I'd instantly be up and sitting. Like, it,
I mean, you just do. You do. If you have kids at home, you're a light sleeper. I don't know about husbands, but I know that as a mother, I'm a light sleeper. So, yeah,
I think
does.
this system just totally did her so wrong. If you're listening to this and you're hoping for a clean answer, I can't give you one.
There isn't.
I, it's, it's haunting. And I ask you to look into this. There's so much more. I mean, it's another story I actually heard, on another podcast. What was it? She's interviewing the sister, and the podcast is called, um, The In Between Podcast with Mel Barrett. The episode is A Mother on Death Row. Darlie Routier, sister, tells her story. It's her little sister, Danielle. Um, she mentions that there was talk that Darren was actually looking at fraud for, like, I guess Darren went to Darlie's dad and asked if he knew anybody who could, like, steal something from their store, like, to get insurance
Oh,
money.
dear.
And the dad was like, "No, you don't need to be doing that. Like, what are you talking about?" And he played it off. But there's no evidence that he actually followed through with that. But some people go down that rabbit hole of, did he go through with that? And then maybe he didn't pay them, or maybe, but there was nothing was ever stolen from their store. Maybe he attempted to go through with and then didn't go through with, and then it upsets the wrong people. So then they came in and did this,
Or
but
maybe
even
they
then it
did
just,
it, he did it for the house, steal something from the house to collect insurance. You said they had a lot of nice things,
hmm
but then
but
the
nothing
guy,
was stolen. So
but
they were just killed and
but
nothing was stolen.
the person didn't expect the kids to be there. And the frenzy of all that, he's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm not taking anything. I I don't know. I'm just totally throwing things out there
I
because
know.
it just seems so
I
wrong.
think the
But
hardest
there
part
are problems with her story,
there is, there are, there are.
and they're big. They're big
But
problems.
the hardest
Yes.
part is when we say guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
I, and these jury go, nah, silly string, she's guilty.
No, 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 no.
I mean,
Okay. Have any of you lost two children in one whack? Have any of you been through such a traumatic incident? You don't know how you're going to act. You don't know what you're going to do. And then you're at your baby's grave on their birthday.
and so they felt bad because all the invitations were sent for his birthday party and all of his friends and everything, and it was so close to the birthday party and everything. So they had asked like if you were already coming to the party and you bought him a present, if you would please bring it, and they donated all the presents, all of his gifts that they had already got to a local children's place. And so there's presents and balloons and cake and silly string. And I personally don't see anything wrong with it. I really don't. That's the way she mourned, is trying to find some sliver of just,
I just think she was so doped up that
yeah.
her emotions just,
None of it was her idea, by the way. None of it was her idea. She was just kind of there.
no, I just feel like she was so totally doped up and emotionally warped that maybe she didn't even know what she was doing.
She still has a relationship with her um, youngest son, the baby. He was actually diagnosed with cancer,
Oh, good grief.
but he's doing well. Um, yeah, she's on death row. And then they only charged her with the one child, so if anything happens with appeals, I guess
They
they
have
could turn
another.
around and
They have
charge her with
another.
the other.
That's exactly why they did that. Exactly why they did that.
Yeah. Two boys lost their whole futures that night. A mother lost the rest of hers in a courtroom. A father lost everything in between. A baby grew up in the shadow of a story nobody can tell without picking a side. The truth is either a mother did the unimaginable or a stranger did the unthinkable and we just didn't catch him. Neither answer brings anyone back. Both answers should scare you. And that is the story that keeps Beth up at night. And just like you did with Ellen, I just kept listening and watching and listening and watching and just watching all this stuff and finding all these articles. And there's just,
There comes a point you just got to stop.
I would read an article and be like, she did this. I hate to say it, she did this. But then sharing it with you tonight, I'm like, she didn't freaking do this. Like, there's no way she did this. But then there's a documentary, and I'm like, yeah, she did this. I mean, there's a gosh darn it. It's listed in all of our, we'll list it all, different documentaries, but these officers and these people that prosecution, they're all in their suits with their Texas accents, and they're just like, she was so concerned about going and getting her hair done before she comes to trial, and she's not worried about her boys being dead. And like
Oh,
from there, she was guilty. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
and here's a man talking, first of all. And you arrogant SOB.
She never cried. She never did any. I mean, they are just so steadfast, and she did it. And it's like, oh, it's interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts on this case, you guys. Honestly, I would love to hear what you think beyond reasonable doubt. Um, do we have more? I need another drink. I'm gonna chug this down. I'm so happy to get this
I'm just
case out
I mean,
there.
I'm totally sitting here in a quandary because I don't know. There is reasonable doubt. There is a lot of
Yeah, she
reasonable
shouldn't be
doubt.
on death row
No,
because there is reasonable doubt.
no. I mean, I don't know if should be acquitted, but she should not be on death row. No, 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 no. There's just not enough.
I mean,
That all sounds circumstantial.
well,
There's not positive
exactly.
proof.
And there was so much contamination in this case that, like, I don't think it was the knife, but some evidence was taken by a firefighter that came and put in a brown paper bag that from a grocery store to
Oh
take into, I mean,
gosh.
there's just so much of that in the case that reminds me of the Karen Reed trial. It's all this like half-assed job, but this is the story. This is what it is. We're sticking to it, and we're not going to look at any other outlets. This is it. Ew, and then the fact that when she got arrested, they're all high-fiving each other and stuff. It's like they probably really thought that they did it. I don't know. Maybe they've convinced themselves.
Boys Club. Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
This is news to me. I've never heard of this.
Yeah, they call it the silly string murder. Silly string case.
Did I remind you of that when I brought silly string for your boys?
Yes. She did the silly string like a couple weeks ago for the kids, and they all went out in the woods behind our house and were
That's what I
playing with
said.
the silly string. They
Go out there.
freaking
You won't
loved
hurt
it.
anything.
I was like, yeah, don't stain anything, please. Uh, they did end up shooting it on our front porch. We had like purple and red streaks on our front porch for, I was like, ah, at least it's Halloween. Like, it's okay. Uh, yeah, that reminded me of it though.
Sorry, I had no idea.
But that's evidence too. My kids are obsessed with silly string now and ask for it all the time.
Thank
So
you.
this
Yeah.
this baby was looking forward to his seventh birthday and was begging to do silly string for his aunt's wedding. Like, yeah, he was begging. They promised they would let him do it. Like, oh God, the whole case is so sad. These poor babies. And probably because I have boys, it just resonated
think
with me.
That's why both of us are extremely emotional, is because
And some people, mom, that 911 call, I listen to it and just cry every single time. And I have listened to it so many times. I've read the transcripts back and forth. I've listened to it so many times.
I was biting my cheeks so I wouldn't
I
cry.
cry every time. But there are people that listen to that 911 call and they're like, oh my gosh, the dramatics. I mean, and
I want to know whether these people have children.
well, but regardless, that's honestly how they look at there's nothing wrong with this. Everybody listens to it and perceives things
That's why I'm
differently.
asking, do these people have children? I'd like to know how children affect the way you listen to that 911 call.
Because I resonate with that call. I feel like I would be running around going, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." Like it would, you can hear the roller coaster of like you can even hear her kind of like snap to and be like, "Who would do this?" You can hear her kind of like her
And
voice
then lose
levels
it again
out.
when she looked at her boys.
Yeah, her voice levels out and she goes, "Who would do this? Who would do such a thing?"
As
And
she's
then all of a
looking
sudden,
away, and then she looks down, I'm
high
just
pitch,
picturing
like,
this, and
yeah.
she turns around, she sees her boy, and she sees her husband doing CPR on this little
Yeah,
guy.
the second one passed away on the ambulance ride back to the hospital. So I think she was even on the ambulance ride to the hospital from the home. So I think she was even holding on to just a little bit of hope that
That's the other thing. If she meant to kill these children, why did she do the
thank you.
911 call while the little boy was still
Still alive. Yeah, he's old enough to tell my mommy did this.
That
And now
doesn't
I don't
make
know what
sense.
state he was in when the officers arrived. I don't know if he was able to speak because of his injuries. I don't know what state he was in. But he could have told his dad. I mean, he was walking around with her at
He was
first.
walking around. He woke her up.
Yeah, that's another point. He's old enough to be like, my mommy did this.
That doesn't make sense either. Why would she call 911 right away if she wanted him dead?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, she would call it if she sees all this and her little boy's bleeding too. She'd call 911 right away.
I brought you down this hole. I'm sorry.
And we don't know, of course, when her execution day will be. That
No.
down the road.
They're these they look like glamour shots of her. And you look at them and they're like, she had glamour shots done. Like, okay, but isn't she on death row? Yeah, they were taken on death row. She's in her jumpsuit. She got her hair all done and her makeup, and she brought it from the commissary, and she did her own makeup. And
Okay, she's a little vain,
she
but that doesn't mean she's a murderess.
I mean, it's Dallas, and people are like, have you heard of Darlie Routier's case? And like, oh, that little blonde woman with the big boobs who killed her kids. And I'm like, okay, it's the 90s in Dallas. Lots of women had bleached hair and fake boobies. Like, like, but why does that make her a murderer?
Probably bleached big hair. Everything's
Uh,
big in Texas.
including the mysteries.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for sharing that, honey, but that is gonna stay with me.
hmm I'm gonna eat my cherry now, away from the microphone because that's so gross. But
Hello. I'm interrupting this episode to share with you some exciting news. We've started a Patreon called After Hours. It's a space where we continue the conversation. After each episode, we spend some extra time talking more in depth about the cases. We share additional thoughts and sometimes just have a more relaxed behind the scene discussion. We also talk about current events and the true crime or paranormal shows and podcasts we've been enjoying lately. New After Hours episodes will be released every other week, helping fill in those gaps when we're not putting out public episodes. And we'll be continuing these episodes even between seasons. If you'd like a little more time with us each month, we'd love to have you join us. You can find After Hours on Patreon, and there's a link in the show notes. All right, let's get back to the episode.
all right, Mom, get us out of this hole.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to totally do that.
Oh no, I told you to find a light, fun story, please.
Well, okay. To me, it's light and fun because it's UFOs. So I told Beth, yeah, I'm going to cover UFOs. And she said, excuse me, what?
She believes in ghosts before she believes in aliens.
I'm not.
I was not expecting this.
I'm sorry. I'm not a UFO believer.
I am.
But I know people are, and I'm not dishing on that. I'm just saying I myself.
But do they have kids? I'm just kidding. Sorry, I was trying to go back to my case, what you said about mine now. Okay, away from my case, moving on, wasn't funny.
Okay. This sighting.
I gotta put these notes away. I'm just gonna keep looking at all these
Okay,
facts and
okay,
crap.
go
We're gonna literally clear Beth's screen, except for all the recording stuff.
Please don't do that.
I do not want to re-record this episode. Okay. Go.
Don't you feel a little bit good though that it's off?
It's off my chest, and now I can actually like talk to you about it and pick your brain.
Yeah, that's what I felt about Ellen. It's like, okay, I'm not like relieved. It isn't. It's just like, okay, I put it out there.
Yeah. And like the story was over, but I'm still dishing out things like, oh yeah, the brown paper bag. Oh yeah, this. Like they tried to move the case, but the judge had his retirement home being built in the county that it was being in, so he wanted to keep it there. I mean, there's all these different things, but we got a compliment. We get this compliment a lot, and then we just had it the other day again that they feel like when they listen to our podcast, it's just us sitting with some friends around
Discussing,
the kitchen counter, just chatting
throwing
about a
out
case.
ideas, and
And honestly, that is the biggest compliment we could get. I love that. And so,
that's why I started this.
yeah, it feels, I loved that compliment. So,
So if you feel that way too, and you'd like to join us in the discussion,
yeah,
all the more reason
we
to
have
send
other
us.
bar stools here. I mean, just pull up a chair. Let's
I
do
could
this.
whip up another drink. I know how to
He
do.
always quadruples the recipe anyway.
Can I
Okay.
move on to
Yes, we're moving on.
Okay, this sighting happened in Texas on December 29th, 1980.
I literally was about to say my story happened in Texas.
Maybe you shouldn't.
And then I said that out loud. So
Maybe you shouldn't guzzle that.
I need it.
So it's been known as the Cash-Landrum incident.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
On Astonishing Legends. I don't remember Facts. I mean, I listen to Astonishing Legends like
I love that.
it's like the best background just to have it
I
on.
really enjoyed
And
it.
yeah, there's some cases that I'm not really paying attention to, but I still just love it. I know I've heard this one, but I'm
Let
not
me
gonna talk over
remind
you. Nope, I'm gonna let you talk. I'm not gonna talk over you.
I'm just going to remind you of the incident. So already you're talking.
Nope, I'm done.
All right.
It'd
51-year-old
be really fun to like as a Grinch cocktail for like Christmas time.
again talking over me. But yes, and it's delicious.
It's really good. It's not really Christmassy tasting, but
Put a sprig of, I don't know.
no, nothing. No, ew, cinnamon and that would be horrible. Rosemary? No. Cranberry? Oh, maybe.
Cranberry would be good, actually.
Huh. Huh. Go on.
Huh. All right.
Take me out of here, Mom.
51-year-old Betty Cash owned a restaurant and a grocery store. I'm just introducing you to the characters.
He was a grocer.
I'm not saying that word. 57-year-old Vicky Landrum worked for Betty. The evening of the sighting, Betty and her 7-year-old grandson Colby were with her and Betty. Okay, so
Got it.
it's Vicky, Betty, and
Colby.
Colby. The trio left a diner around 8:30. Betty was driving. The highway they were on was very isolated and really only used by locals who lived nearby, which was scarce. The area consisted of oak and pine trees, swamps, and lakes. Like I said, it was very sparsely populated. So if you can just imagine very dark, no,
Yeah, super dark.
you know,
You're out in like the country, I'm
no
assuming.
lights, no nothing. You're just
Super
driving
dark.
on this very isolated
I
highway.
hate driving on those kinds of roads.
And it's only 30 miles away from Houston.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I hate driving on those roads. We have a road like that that leads to Aiden's baseball games, and we call it the Haunted Deer Road because every time there's no lights, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's so dark, and there are always a ton of deer just like standing on the side of the road, just like looking at you. And so you see these glowing light eyes,
Yeah. Remember when
or they're aliens.
remember on our ghost trip? Remember on our girls trip? And we drove
Girls trip, ghost trip.
when we drove from Silver Dollar City back to Eureka.
Oh, I hated that because those roads are like this first
And
of
like
all.
this.
So you're already like, I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah, your sister did throw up, but
She did. And then it's dark, so you never know. It's literally like a drop in a roller coaster. You don't know what's
just
coming.
like, Mom, I hope you know how you
I hated it. I hated every second of that.
Yeah.
I hate driving the car with
I
you.
was
Didn't you know?
being
So they're
done.
driving home.
Yes. I didn't know you hated driving with me. Okay.
God, now she's offended.
I am offended.
You hate driving with me.
I
so
do. You're
it's-
scary.
How are you?
She's so fast.
And you're so slow.
She's
and
so
he
scary.
parks totally crooked and takes over 2 spots when we went to Starbucks. And I said,
it so didn't
she
bother
won't go
me.
through a drive-through because she's such a great driver. She can't go through
No, I
drive-thrus.
just don't like it. It feels like I'm lazy.
And I go, Mom, you parked horribly. And she's, And then we walked inside and I was like so embarrassed. I was like, Mom.
Nobody.
So they're driving
nobody
home on the
cares.
Stark Road. I did.
As the car drove on, what? No. It was, of course, very dark, like we said, but suddenly there was a very bright light above the trees, and it was still quite some distance away, but it was so bright that they could see it.
Like the moon?
No, a lot closer and a lot brighter.
Ooh.
As they got closer, they saw this very large object, and out of it was coming this light that basically where they were was lit like it was daylight. So everything around them was so lit up as if it was day
Oh.
from this light. It was very, very, very bright.
But only in a specific area.
Well, it was quite a distance.
Okay.
Because this is a very large thing that they saw. The object that they saw was not like when, these round little spaceship things. It was in the shape
Flying
of a
saucer.
diamond.
Oh, that's okay.
So it was a very huge diamond
Get it,
with
girl.
around the center of it were blue lights. So,
Now we're getting some detail here.
and
Okay.
then there was fire shooting out of
Fire
shooting out of the bottom of it. In fact,
keeping it levitated.
had it not been on the road, had it been in the trees, it would have burnt the tree,
Burnt the tree.
forest up. Yeah. They said that it looked like it was made of aluminum. There was also intermittent beeping sounds that were coming from this thing.
Beeping sounds.
Yes. Well, actually, it says bleeping, bleeping, not beeping, bleeping. Blepping.
Bleeping? What is that?
Bleep,
Instead of saying
bleep.
instead of saying beep, it
It
goes,
says bleep. Exactly.
I don't know if I could tell the difference, but okay.
Vicky is quoted as describing the object as being, quote, like a diamond of fire.
Ooh, clever.
Vicky's Vicky, that would be Vicky and Betty together. Betty
Letty.
stopped the
Not
car.
Betty, it's Letty.
Stopped the car, and the two women stepped out into the road. Vicky was quickly called back to the back seat of the car by Colby,
Yeah, he's
Who-
probably terrified.
totally terrified. Being a good Christian woman and not a believer in UFOs, she honestly thought
Tina. It's Blatina.
that this was the end of time
Oh, yeah.
and that Jesus was going to pop out of this thing
Well, yeah.
and save everybody who was a Christian. So she got into the back seat of the car
Praying.
and she's holding
Baptizing Colby.
Colby, holding him really tight, and she's like, "Now, don't worry now, because Jesus is going to come out of that thing. Jesus is going to come
Can
out."
you imagine if Jesus, when he does
Popped
come
out of a
he comes
UFO.
out of a saucer?
It's not a saucer, it's a diamond.
Then,
So they're in the back. And meanwhile, she's screaming out the door, Betty, Betty, get back into the car, get back into the car. But Betty, by this time, she's walked to the front of the car and in front, and she's just like, ooh. She's totally mesmerized by this thing. I think she was kind of tranced out.
so you do believe in this story? Go on.
Okay, so so Betty is standing there, and there's an immense amount of heat coming from this thing.
Because there's fire.
Like I said, it would have burned the trees. She doesn't even feel this heat. Okay, she's standing here. Meanwhile, her skin is actually blistering from the heat, like a really, really third-degree bad sunburn.
Gosh.
And she doesn't feel it.
She
So
is trans.
then she finally walks back to the car when when Vicky screams real loud, "Get back to the car." So she's kind of trance-like walking to the car. She touches the handle of the car to open the door and totally scorches her hand because
the
handle
car is
so
hot.
hot. Then she pops out of her trance. And then she gets in the car and she touches the front, that we're all right below the windshield,
hood of the
is that
car?
dash. Is that
inside?
inside?
Okay, yes.
She touches the dash for some reason, and her fingers actually stick
Melt into it.
into.
Oh, reminds me of planes, trains, and
I know
automobiles.
that's exactly what it did for me. So she's plucking just like John Candy did.
No, it wasn't John
No,
Candy.
it was yeah.
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
When he's like,
plucking
because he's
his
gripping
hands
onto it so hard.
off of it. Yeah, exactly. So she
Yeah,
she does.
so I can visualize this very well.
So that's how hot it was. They said they finally turned on the air conditioner.
They didn't just drive away.
just like,
We're just gonna sit here and turn on the AC.
well, then that thing kind of lifted up and started moving. And so it had left, and just not very long after that, helicopters came.
So they know that it's there.
So this is like, they said
Government helicopters.
23 helicopters
23.
flew over, and they were Chinooks. So
No
those
idea
are-
what that is.
Those are the helicopters with the double rotors.
Okay.
And there were single rotor helicopters that were really fast. And it looked to them like they were coming, like they were trying to encircle that object. Okay, but they didn't. But
My 4-year-old calls them helicopters because he won't say hell. So he says,
He
no,
says
no, that's,
everything else, but
yeah, that's true. That's a bad word. They're helicopters. I think that's so cute. Okay. Sorry.
So yeah, 23 helicopters. Betty is quoted as saying, they seemed to rush in from all directions. It seemed like they were trying to encircle the thing.
Mm, yeah. Government
I mean, I guess
helicopters.
it's not, and it's actually not unusual to see helicopters come after you see UFOs.
No, I know that.
So
Yeah.
Betty dropped Vicky and Colby off at around 9:50.
So they just went home like normal.
Well, they had to get home. Plus, they weren't feeling well.
They're
Shortly
burnt
after
with
arriving at her
blisters.
own home, Betty started feeling really ill. Her skin started blistering as if badly sunburnt. The blisters were on her face, her scalp, and her eyelids and her neck.
Her eyelids. Oh
She started
no.
and could not stop vomiting. She also had diarrhea. By morning, she was so ill she couldn't move. So Vicky and Colby also became sick that night, first from the sunburned blisters, then the vomiting and diarrhea, but their symptoms were less severe than Betty's.
She's the one who got out of the car.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's like radiation poisoning,
3
maybe.
days later, Betty was taken to the hospital where she stayed for several days. She might have even stayed until weeks.
But did she tell them the story when she's there? Weren't they questioning, like, where did you get this?
Yeah, of course she told the
Did
story.
agents like show up?
No.
Oh.
Her hair started falling out in clumps.
Oh my gosh.
And her eyes swelled shut.
God, they got blisters on them. Ow.
They so this was brought to the attention of the of Fort Hood.
Okay.
And the press officer said, well, the aircrafts weren't from Fort Hood. Now, I don't know any other place around here that would have had that number of helicopters.
He's lying.
I don't know what it could be unless there's a super secret thing going on and
Duh.
wouldn't necessarily know about that.
Well,
That
you're a
was, like,
loser.
above my pay grade.
Yeah, loser.
All other bases in Texas and Louisiana denied they were responsible for the helicopter.
Of course they do. They all sent them. They all teamed up.
The
That's a
thing
lot of
is-
helicopters.
Well, maybe the government did. The thing is, there were other witnesses.
Well, yeah, this
To the
thing seems pretty
intention.
huge, and that's a lot of helicopters to come out where nobody else can. Okay, anybody else with blisters and stuff?
No, a man, because these women got
We're right there. They were right there. Okay.
A man was in his backyard when he saw the diamond-shaped object shooting flames out of the back of it. An off-duty policeman and his wife were driving home that night when they saw the large number of helicopters flying overhead, as well as another man who reported the helicopters. So only the 3 women and the police and his wife actually saw the object. The other,
But it's very rural
yes,
area.
Yeah. So they were the only ones who saw the object, but the other ones saw the fleet of
Of
helicopters.
helicopters heading that way. Okay.
As for the trio,
Say okay, like all this makes sense.
Vicky and Colby have had occasional outbreaks of skin problems and some damage to their eyes. Vicky has to increase her glass prescription every year, and she's afraid she will eventually go blind.
I could have sworn you were going to tell me she had glass eyes. I really thought that's where you were heading.
It's a very good drink. All right. Colby's eyes are affected, but much less. So he does
Because
wear
he's so
glasses,
young.
but and he didn't get out, and he probably didn't even look.
Probably
at
didn't
the
look.
thing.
He's probably so scared.
Yeah. So he didn't even. He was huddled up, and he didn't even look at the thing.
Yeah. Well, that's probably for the best.
Poor Betty, who was the one that stood outside the car, has had a horrible time. She has large blisters on her face, head, neck, and arms.
Still? Like constantly like reoccurring?
She has a reaction to warm water, to sunlight, and to anything warm.
So it's like it thinned her skin or
Sounds like it.
yeah. It's like you.
Yeah. In the year following the UFO incident, she had 5 hospital stays, 2 in intensive care. She
Oh my
lost more than
gosh.
half of her hair and has scars left by the skin blisters that continue. And the skin blisters aren't small, they're about the size of a dime. And some said some of them are as big as a golf ball.
It's like radiation. Like it. Oh my gosh.
Doctors seem at a loss, thinking that the trio's reaction could be caused by some kind of radiation poisoning.
I'm brilliant.
Now,
Now,
Betty and God, I keep forgetting her name.
Vicky.
Cash-Landrum did contact their state senators,
Cash-Landrum.
Betty and Vicky.
Well, you were calling them Betty and Vicky. How am I now supposed to know you're calling them by their
Because you
made up
said
name?
the Cash-Landrum incident. So Betty and Vicky
I'm
did.
also 2 cocktails in and have been listening to the story with you naming them as Vicky and
They did
Betty.
contact their U.S. senators, who suggested that the witness file a complaint with the Judge Advocate Claims Office.
Heck, I'd contact more than just the senators. I'd be going off.
In August 1981, Cash-Landrum, Betty, and Vicky, and Colby were interviewed at length by people at the Air Force Base, and were told that they should hire a lawyer
They haven't already.
and seek financial compensation.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do. They had no idea what to do.
No, I guess you
With
would.
their attorney, the case wound its way through the U.S. courts for several years. Vicky and Betty sued the U.S. federal government for $20 million.
Holy cow.
Testimony of officials from NASA, the Air Force, and the Army and Navy were given. So, I mean, they brought in the big guns.
In defense of them?
No,
Oh, against them.
because they were like, we don't know what they're talking about. We have no idea what they're
Sure.
talking about. Persuaded by their testimony and other evidence that no agency of the U.S. government possessed any such UFO and no military personnel had operations of the reported helicopters, the U.S. District Court dismissed the case on August 21, 1986. Those poor people have to suffer through all this, but there are questions whether the incident really happened.
But then what happened? Like, if this didn't happen, if there wasn't some diamond-shaped, fire-breathing, blue-dotted thing, why is she covered in blisters and losing hair and like,
Why would you do that?
and
to
all
yourself?
3 of them?
I mean, seriously, why would you do that to yourself?
And this happened in 86?
In 80.
So he's a little older than me, almost 10 years older than me. You'd think by now he'd be like, yeah, my mom made me say that.
My grandma made me say that. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it obviously happened, I think, because, all the helicopter sightings and stuff. I don't know what it was. It could have been an experiment from the U.S. government. I'm not saying it was aliens. Okay.
It was aliens.
So
You cannot sit there and tell me, with all the trillions of galaxies out there, that there's not another thing out there. You want to argue the Darlie Routier case? We could sit here all night and talk about
yeah, I have very little to say about it.
gray men.
Okay, now I found this interesting because I'm like, UFOs, yeah. Okay, how many sightings have there been, So the U.S. has reported UFO sightings, obviously. About 3/4 seem to happen between 4 p.m. and 12 midnight.
It's a really odd number. You'd think
And
that it's
most
like
sightings-
midnight to like 4 a.m.
And most sightings in that time frame are between 9 and 10. So if you want to look for
We've already passed our sighting. That's
So
good.
if you want to look for sightings, go out during that time. But now there have been sightings in every single state.
Oh, sure. But the most like rural states is where, like areas. No?
No. So in
I'm a sucker for those videos.
has let's see. The National UFO Reporting Center. That's where you call in.
Yeah.
If you see one.
You're looking at me like you think it's crazy. No, yes, I know.
I'm sorry, this drink has hit my throat.
She blames the drink. She's just a cougher.
Okay, so for
Cough
the
all the
last
time.
50 years, they've reported over 60,000 sightings. And that's all the states together. So
There was just a meeting.
the least sightings
There was just a meeting up the road,
Of the galaxies.
they called me. No, there was just a meeting up the road in another little town, probably like 40 minutes from here, where they were gathering people from the area to get their UFO and alien stories. I'm not kidding you. They just had this like a month ago. I wanted to go so bad, but we had something going on. I literally was going to get a sitter and go. I was so excited that they were coming here.
Well, I'll let you know that in Missouri, there have been 1,870
Oh
sightings.
no, this was a packed meeting.
So,
Packed.
Missouri has some sightings. Kansas only has 795. And remember, this isn't a 50-year gathering space. The District of Columbia has the least amount of all 50
Yeah,
sightings.
they're not gonna waste their time over there.
They had 87.
I wouldn't waste my time over there.
California is number one, and they had 10,333.
That's not even where.
New Mexico, you're
Yeah,
thinking
I was
about?
just gonna say 41
New
is
Mexico was like in the middle.
interesting.
Texas was number 4 with 3,848.
Well, Texas is huge.
So I was surprised that New Mexico, with all the Roslyn or what is it stuff.
Remember the Roswell Rock? That's still my favorite episode we've ever done. Ever. Ever.
I mean, I was surprised that it was kind of in the middle.
Well, yeah, because it's like known. Area 51.
I know, but that the reportings were,
Lower.
yeah. So
And they're
anyway,
over it there. It'd be a normal thing. They're not going to report it anymore.
it's just
Like, oh, it's Tuesday night. There's 4 of them. Yeah, it's normal. We're on schedule. Oh, I think it's fascinating.
so totally. Can I just change the subject totally? This is like a
Whoa.
trivia thing that I found that I thought was so funny.
This is the only time that Alex is tuning in. Trivia?
It is trivia. So, what is the smallest state park in Texas? Actually, I think in the United States.
Why would we know this?
It is 0.006 acres.
How can you even say that's a park?
Because it is state land.
Why did you look this up?
Because I was looking for things
Things in
to do
Texas.
Texas.
Got it.
It's this tiny fenced in zone. And in the middle of it is the grave of Elizabeth P. Crockett, who is Davy Crockett's second wife.
Get it, girl. Make a name for yourself.
Whole thing.
And they call that a park? Her grave, essentially, is a park? Why?
Okay, so she ended up having to give a surveyor half of her savings to find a tract worth claiming for her own. And the grave was declared a state park in 1911. The Texas legislature paid $2,000 to erect a tall pillar with her statue on top.
Well, the pillar itself takes up the whole park.
Looking west, waiting for Davy to come home.
Oh, but it's his second wife. So did he like have a third wife after her?
No.
Oh, she was the last
Yeah,
wife. Okay.
yeah. So I guess it's not her grave, it's just a pillar that sits there.
Oh,
And then this gate is just literally inches from her pillar.
the gate?
Yeah, there's a little gate around the state park.
Oh
I thought
my.
it was the funniest thing.
I want a park. We were just talking about this though the other night about cemeteries because this is what we do is we just talk about
Random
crap
things.
like this and how cemeteries were made to be parks. Like they were made that they wanted people to come and picnic and like come spend time with your loved ones and like spend the day out here. And
Yeah,
now
but
it's
you could
just
in this state park. You could have a nice little picnic.
I don't think you'd fit in that park. I don't think your sandwich would fit in the park. Not my sandwich. I love it. Guys, stacked sandwich. Uh, but I kind of hate how cemeteries have become nowadays. Of just kind of
Death. Just death.
dark.
Dark death. Yeah.
Like mom used to take us for walks in cemeteries, and I did that with my kids. We actually found one. We were driving on the way to the pumpkin patch, and we had to take a roundabout way because of traffic, or I don't even remember. We passed by this really old cemetery on the way, and I like drove by and I go, nope. And I turned around and we went back. And we started walking around the cemetery, and the kids thought it was like the coolest thing. But this was a super old cemetery, like 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a house that a family had built for their daughter who had
Mausoleum.
passed. No, like a house, like a doll house, like a house,
Mm.
like a playhouse on her grave. And there
Oh
was
my
like stuffed
God.
animals and stuff inside of it. They had
Oh
glassed
wow.
it. And yeah, but like from long, long, long time ago. But it was really cool to just stumble upon a cemetery, and the kids thought it was really neat. And I was like, it's history though, too. Like it's really
Oh, it
cool.
is. That's why took you guys to that park. Yeah, I mean, the park,
That
the
park.
cemetery, because first of all, gravestones were really cool. They did have a mausoleum, and
I love
the one I
mausoleums.
took
I
you
think they're
to.
so neat.
And then I was like, take a look at the dates, on the headstones,
Yeah.
and it was just really interesting to. And they went to
When we were
1800s, and
looking to move, I told you, but I didn't tell them. Uh, we were looking at this new build house, and we were very excited about it. And we went upstairs, and I was like, "Oh, this could be so and so's room. This could be so and so's room, and this could be Aiden's room." I was really excited. This could be Aiden's room. And I look out the window, and it literally was a cemetery. Like right out his window was this giant cemetery. And we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna pass on this." But at the same time, I'm kind of mad at us for doing that because I think it would have been a fun like summer activity I would have made the kids do of go out
go
and
play in the graves.
no, we'll go get out of my house and go play outside. I do that anyway, but we don't need grave sites for me to do that. But go out and find a grave and do research on that person. With the internet the way it is, you can
You
find
can
these
do it.
graves, you can
Hmm.
research these people, and especially these older graves and find out where they're from and like, okay, they're from that area, like let's learn more about that area. Like I love that stuff. And how cool to teach your kids that stuff. But all of that has just been so bury your dead, you leave them there, you cry and you move on. And let's go back to Darlie. Why can't we go and celebrate birthdays there? Why can't we go and celebrate at our spouse or brother or son's
Let's
grave?
try. We just look at death like we don't want to look at it. We don't want to
Yeah,
realize it. We
yeah,
want it like, yeah, we all know we die, but we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to. But, other cultures do Day of the Dead,
oh gosh.
and
There's several episodes Mom has covered of people how they bring out their grandpa's skeleton for lunch.
for lunch, not for lunch. They don't eat the skeleton, but for the day.
Oh, like for lunch, like to come to sit with them at
Yeah.
lunch.
And
Uh,
there's several cultures that do that. It's just interesting to me how we are so like,
the macabre of it all, of just like they're dead, leave them there, move on. That's kind of sad. We should
yeah.
celebrate their life. That's why I like Day of the Dead.
Oh, definitely. I think it's a
Funny story to end on, and then we are done. I promise. We just learned about, because we're recording all these in advance. My son was learning about Day of the Dead at school, but he came home and he had this little skeleton man. And he goes, Mom, look what my teacher gave me in Spanish class. Isn't it neat? I won him in a trivia thing that they had done in class. And I said, Oh, good. That's awesome. Is that for Day of the Dead? He looked at me like I was absolutely the dumbest person on earth. And he said, No. I said, Day of the Dead. Are you learning about Day of the Dead? He goes, No, we're learning about Day of the Bread. And I said, um, you sure? You sure you're learning about Day of the Bread? And he said,
yeah, families
Yeah,
carry bread to the
because
cemetery.
people make a bunch of bread and then they just like leave bread out, Mom. And he walked away like, duh. I I was not going to correct him. I was going to leave it at that and be like, you know what, buddy? Day of the Bread sounds great.
I'm sorry, I
I'm
couldn't,
so in on that holiday.
but I couldn't leave it be. I had to correct him. But
No, we did. We
so,
corrected him.
but then he joked about it
Oh,
later.
he will joke about it now
He is-
forever. He thinks it's hilarious.
He called it Day of the Bread.
I mean, he was like, look, like I was so dumb.
I saw that look.
He's like, Day of the ew, Day of the Dead. It's
Where did you even come up with that?
Day of the Bread. People make a ton of bread and bring bread around, Mom. I'm like, okay, you paid attention to a quarter of your lesson. Good thing you won trivia and got this
The
little skeleton.
rubber skeleton. That you're gonna lose in 1 hour.
Oh God, no, no, no.
I
That
know,
thing
it's
is
on
like
your
his
counter.
treasured item. He wouldn't let me put it away with the Halloween stuff. And this is treasured Day of the Bread skeleton.
It's
Are
gonna
you
be out
kidding
for
me?
Christmas.
Yes, yes, it will.
Tie a little red ribbon around it. Just with every holiday, decorate it.
We got to make a Day of the Bread, though. There should be a Day of the Bread.
Oh, how funny.
Okay, well, look, I put it over here so I could save a little sip because I hate toasting on empty
Oh,
glasses.
look, and I do have a sip.
For the first time in forever.
Boy. Oh, wow. I don't know. I mean, it was a good episode, but
Was it?
this-
Or is Beth just rambling and they turned us off a long time ago?
oh, I hope not, because my UFO was really interesting. I don't believe it, but it's one of these days, maybe I'll say something and you'll be the first to know.
No, because you're not going to believe it. Okay. Cheers, mama.
Oh, cheers. I love you, kid.
This has been Killer Hangover Podcast, an original production, written, produced, and designed by yours truly. All of our amazing music that always sends shivers down my spine was thoughtfully crafted by Dangerous Schmidt. And the other thing that gives me those chicken bumps, as we say, is you guys. Big love and huge thanks to all of our listeners. You truly make these hangovers possible. If you liked the episode, do us a favor. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. If you want to get in touch, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Killer Hangover Podcast, or shoot us an email at killerhangoverpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, stay safe, lock your doors, drink some water for that hangover, and call your mom.